Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we got a game in the Akatsuki for you, the Tier 6 Japanese torpedo boat. There's the Space Fish. Tanaka's your man if you don't have him. Bay and Sims, pretty standard build here. Now, usually when I'm narrating my videos, I'm mainly focused on the strategy, but today I'm going to try and describe the torpedo launches themselves. It's been a little while since we've talked about technical aiming, and I think it's kind of useful, especially since we got a lot of new players that I've noticed on the channel lately. So maybe we'll get you some tips here on how to aim the torps. These are a little bit more advanced. I'm just going to try and at least walk you through my thought process on each torpedo launch. Okay, now my torpedo hit percentage is 8%. Pretty solid. I think it used to be 10 when I was learning the game, but as I've become more focused on putting the torpedoes in areas that I'm kind of trying to control rather than just directly aiming at ships all the time, then the hit rate goes down a little bit. Okay, but in my opinion, I think I'm pretty good at torpedo play, and I think that's a good number. So if you're wildly above that, then I'd have concerns. Either you're getting far too close when you're torpedoing, suicide strikes, as we like to say. If you're trading your destroyer for a battleship or a cruiser, that's very often a bad play. More often than not, a bad play. Not kind of bad play. It's a real bad play, and it'll cost your teams lots of games. So do not be trading your destroyers who are responsible for capping, countering destroyers, and spotting. Those are far more valuable than the other types of ships on the game. So don't be getting too close to torping, or too close to your enemies to launch torps, and just focus on staying alive first and foremost. Speaking of staying alive here, moving into the Fiji now. We didn't talk about that opening salvo. I guess we're just kind of throwing some out there early. Kind of mainly focused at this point on trying to figure out where the destroyers are on the red team. You can see they got C basically for free. It looks like our destroyer is probably sitting in the smoke. He hasn't moved, but he certainly isn't spotting or anything. So I'm guessing he's just sitting in the cloud outside of the zone here, and we're getting countered by the Fiji. I'm not yet seeing any evidence that the enemy destroyers are over here. So our torps are about to be reloaded here. Fiji moving back into the cloud. Now we can safely shoot if we want to there, because you can see the ships that aren't in the cloud are outside of our firing range. But we got a pretty narrow spread there, and this Fiji, you can see, is actually angled basically towards the torpedoes, but we're just tightening the shot in there, trying to ward him off the base so we can capture it, or even hit him, ideally. But what do you want to be thinking about when you're dropping these torpedoes is the tighter the spread, i.e. the more you stack those launches on top of each other, that'll lower your percentage hit chance down quite a bit, actually. The more you spread them out, assuming they're still connected, the higher the hit chance. What you don't want to be doing is dropping them with big gaps. You can see between the center and the right there, we want it with a gap. You want to avoid that whenever possible. I'm not even going to mention the fact that you shouldn't be using widespreads, because that's Torpedo 101. I know some people disagree with me, perhaps even some good players, but in my opinion, widespreads are for chumps, and I would never recommend doing them. Fiji, existential threat to this ship, and because he was closing in on us there, we do open up with the gun, hoping the team can help get him off there, and there he goes. Once again, we do drop spot, and that's great. It's mainly due to the North Carolina being blocked by that smoke, but the other two ships out of our firing range. And once again, look at that nice narrow spread. Now, what's the thought process here? The North Carolina, I'm thinking he's either going to, a lot of these battleships, they want to move forward, then they drop anchor. Or maybe he just wants to touch the edge of the cap to prevent us from getting it. But either way, I wasn't expecting them to charge in here, and that's why we kind of have this narrow spread that's stacked on top of each other. But you'll see the front launches that were more on the indicator. Those are the ones that are going to miss. The ones that were accounting for him likely stopping, those are the ones that are actually going to potentially whack him here. Let's see, 1, 2, and he gone with that shot there. So that's anticipating what he's trying to do. And if people that only play destroyers, I always recommend playing the other ships, because you can figure out what's going on through their mind. Now here we have options. We have a Tirpitz that's going broadside. That's going to be a lot easier. Hipper, on the other hand, much more valuable in this case, especially vis-a-vis this ship. Hipper is an existential threat to this. He's got a 5.5 kilometer sonar, and you can see a third of our team is just sitting in the spawn, unable to shoot anything. So I want to tightly line up on those hippers, but we're accounting for him either stopping where he is here, or if he's continuing on, I figure he's going to be tightly hugging those islands. So we're looking at the indicator, yes, but that's just kind of one of the inputs into our decision making when we're launching these torps. And the other one is, okay, what is this guy trying to do, likely, and how can I either prevent him from doing that or hit him while he's doing that? And you can see we did hit him once, even though he was pointing directly at those torps. It was, once again, a very tight spread, confined to basically right on the edge of that island where we anticipated him being. Now the Turpets here is getting close. The team can't really shoot the hipper, even though I pinged the heck out of the hipper here because he's far more dangerous and valuable in this situation. But, you know, to hit him, they have to move towards the Turpets, and moving towards the Turpets not that great of an idea. So we're going to try and line up a shot on him. Or I think we actually do another split launch here. Now, I don't often do the split launches, but I'm still trying to pressure that hipper, make sure he's, in his mind, he's thinking, okay, I'm constantly under torpedo attack. I need to be watchful of that. And then we launched 2 at the Turpets. 1 kind of on the indicator, and then we had to pick. Is he going to turn away from our team or turn in towards them? So I guessed, okay, you know, he might turn out, and we put one just slightly to the left of that to the account for that possibility. Do get him with the torp that was just kind of aimed right at him, and then the one that counted for a turn misses. He did not turn, but the flood luckily gets him off here. Hipper about to capture the base. We do take a little bit of a risk here. We got full HP, so we got plenty of playmaking HP. Get 4 resets. Very valuable. And he squeaks through those torps, which of course he was angled at again. But once again, in his mind, he's now thinking, okay, this guy's continuing to launch torpedoes at me. He's a menace. I got to be careful about that. Even though I'm very, very, very worried about the hipper. If he rushes me, he's probably faster in a lot of cases in a lot of builds. And that sonar, if he gets this ship in that sonar range, we could be basically stuck there until he kills us, unable to escape. So very, very nervous about the hipper at all times. Respectful, but understanding what he can do. Like, we're going to shoot here and continue to harass, and you can see the Brandenburg, who went up the gut, got B. He's going to be in a position to pressure him as well. But I just want to harass and whittle that hipper down as much as possible. Once he's dead, then every red ship on this side of the map is now gone, right? So now we know we're going to have to turn our attention to C very rapidly. We want to do what we're doing over here as quickly as possible. We can't leave him alive, though, because if he leaves him alive, then he can flip A. He might be able to 1v1 something. He might torp the Brandenburg. You never know what's going to happen, but disaster looms if we don't resolve what's going on over here. So we're chiming in. Yeah, we're getting spotted, but whatever. Once again, we do have a lot of HP, and if the heat's turned on, we do have the smoke ready to go as well. Red team in C now, and that's, of course, a problem. Right now, we're 2 caps to 1, effectively, even though we control 3. The fact that they're on C means we're still generating 2 points to every point that they're generating in the background, so that's good. But what we don't want to do is concede C and then have that thing either come my way or more likely go up the gut to B, forming a triangle of their own. Because you can see the game still about 7 minutes left, and that's plenty of time to let the score work in the background. Especially a tight game like this, where if they add another kill or 2, all of a sudden we're down big, and we need the lead in these points. So once they capture C, that background score will be frozen. At that point in time, neither team will be gaining or losing an advantage there. But we're going to push into this thing. I did see the Fantastic earlier. He's very low health, I know that. So even though he can probably beat us up in a gunfight, and the Benson for sure can, I'm willing to once again gamble a little bit because we do have the smoke. But if he is running up the gut, which it looks like he's doing, with the twist and track, the radio locator, half moon indicator on there. So I'm trying to get in position. I'm going to either try and spot him for the Brandenburg or help the Brandenburg withstand a suicide rush from that thing. And, you know, get him off the board because we need these destroyers dead. If I'm alive and the destroyers on the red team are dead, the game is automatically over. I can either go around capturing bases, or I can just nuke the Gneisenau, whatever I'm more in the mood to do. But the Gneisenau cannot beat me as long as I don't make a foolish mistake. The last launch we kind of just did right on the indicator, and then 1/2 of the indicator on each side. Just, you know, we got a quick reload on this thing. I'm way more focused on the Fantasta than that launch, so we just dropped it. If he doesn't change his course, we'll hit him. If he does, no big deal. We'll have the Torps ready to go in about a minute after launch, and that way, we can just go ahead and nuke him close range. He does turn out there, though, which is fine. We should be focusing more on the Benson here. This is just an error. I don't think I was looking at the map, or I was thinking to myself, well, the York, who's the cruiser over there, should be able to beat him, but that's sloppy play. So whatever the thought process was, Gneisenau shouldn't be getting shot at here as long as we got a shot at this Benson. Okay, but the Benson will go down here in a moment. The York is doing a good job, and then once again we're kind of playing defensive on these launches here, but note the first launch was on the indicator, and then the next two were progressively to the left of that, and that's accounting for two things. Number one, if he slows down and then turns in, okay, and that's going to be a common play. Battleships, once they realize they're under torpedo attack, usually you're going to counter that. You're going to just turn in, slow down. I mean, this guy does exactly how I would counter that once I suspected he was launched, but we did hit him there, taking into account that that's what he's going to do. So that's a look at the Akatsuki for you guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Questions, comments, leave below. Love to hear from you guys, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.